There was a season in his life when nothing was loud anymore. No celebrations, no arguments, no clear disasters, just silence. Not the peaceful kind, but the kind that settles in when prayers feel unanswered and effort stops producing results. He still woke up every morning, still showed up, still tried. But inside, something had gone quiet. He had believed deeply that if he stayed faithful, if he stayed honest, if he did the right things, life would eventually open a door. Instead, doors kept closing, opportunities passed him by, plans dissolved slowly, dreams didn't shatter. They simply faded, and that felt worse. Because when something breaks, you grieve it. But when something fades, you keep waiting, not knowing when to stop hoping. He didn't lose his faith in a dramatic way. There was no anger at God, no rebellion, no turning away. It was quieter than that. He still believed. He just didn't understand anymore. Waiting became the hardest part. Not waiting for something specific, but waiting for meaning. He prayed in short sentences now, not because he didn't care, but because he didn't know what to ask for. Help me understand. Give me strength. Show me what I can't see. Days passed. Weeks followed. Nothing changed on the outside. And slowly, a dangerous thought crept in. What if this is all there is? That thought scared him more than failure ever had. Because failure still carries movement. But this felt like standing still while time kept walking. He began questioning himself. Was he doing something wrong? Was his faith weak? Was he being punished or forgotten? He never said these questions out loud, but they lived in him. One night, after another long day that led nowhere, he sat alone and did something unexpected. He stopped asking for answers. Instead, he made a quiet decision. If I don't understand this season, I will still live it with integrity, not because it felt good, not because it made sense, but because something inside him whispered, this moment matters, even if you don't see how yet. That night, his faith changed shape. It stopped being about outcomes and started becoming about presence. He began treating each day not as a test to pass, but as ground to stand on, and that changed how he carried himself. Nothing improved immediately, but something inside him stabilized. He became gentler with himself, more patient with time, less desperate for proof. He learned that strength doesn't always look like confidence. Sometimes strength looks like getting up without enthusiasm, continuing without clarity, believing without reassurance, and no one applauds that kind of strength. But it builds something real, slowly, quietly. The test didn't arrive all at once. It came quietly, disguised as another ordinary loss, a message that didn't get answered, a door that closed without explanation, a relationship that slowly stopped reaching back. He told himself it was fine, but inside something cracked, not his belief in God, but his belief that things would ever change. He had trusted the process for so long that doubt began to feel like betrayal. So he pushed it down. He kept moving, kept praying, kept hoping, but hope felt heavier now. There was one night he remembers clearly, not because something dramatic happened, but because nothing did. He sat in the dark, exhausted, and felt the quiet weight of disappointment settle in his chest. He didn't cry. He didn't panic. He just felt tired, tired of waiting, tired of trusting, tired of believing without evidence. For the first time, he wondered if letting go might hurt less than holding on. And that thought scared him, because faith had always been the one thing he never questioned. That night, his prayer sounded different. There were no requests, no promises, no explanations, just honesty. I don't understand this, he whispered, and I don't know how much longer I can hold hope. He didn't ask for miracles. He didn't ask for answers. He just stayed there, present, open, real. And something subtle happened. Not relief, not clarity, but peace, the kind that doesn't solve anything but keeps you from falling apart. The next morning didn't arrive with light. It arrived quietly, the same routine, the same responsibilities. But he noticed something different. He wasn't fighting the day anymore. He wasn't demanding that it prove something to him. He moved slower, listened more. And for the first time in a long while, he stopped asking when this season would end. He started asking how to live inside it. A few days later, something small happened, almost invisible. He met someone, briefly. Not someone important, not someone powerful. Just someone honest. They spoke about ordinary things, life, waiting, loss. And then that person said something simple. Some seasons don't prepare you for what's next. They prepare you for who you're becoming. The words stayed with him because they didn't promise change. They promised meaning. Just when he thought he had found balance, life tested him again, not with something new, but with something old returning. A problem he believed was resolved resurfaced. A fear he thought he had outgrown reappeared. It felt unfair. He had been patient. He had been faithful. He had been careful with hope. And still, here he was again. The disappointment was quiet but deep. Because setbacks don't just hurt. They make you question everything you thought you learned. This time, faith felt different. There was no emotional comfort attached to it, no sense of reassurance. It was faith without feeling. He kept doing the right things even when they felt empty. He prayed without warmth. He trusted without excitement. He showed up without motivation. And that taught him something important. Faith isn't always supported by emotion. Sometimes it's supported only by choice. Staying became his quiet victory. Staying present, staying kind, staying honest. Even when no one noticed, even when nothing changed. He realized how easy it is to leave internally while still being physically present. But he refused to disappear inside himself. He stayed, and that took more courage than leaving ever would. There were moments that didn't look like success, but felt meaningful. A conversation that ended with understanding. A night that ended without anxiety. A morning that didn't feel heavy. No applause followed these moments. No announcement was made. But they mattered because they proved that healing doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it just happens quietly. One ordinary day at a time. He stopped trying to measure progress. He stopped asking if he was there yet. Instead, he focused on what he could control. His honesty, his integrity, his response to disappointment. He learned to trust the process without needing proof. Not because he was strong, but because he was tired of doubting himself. And slowly, that trust began to grow. The change didn't arrive as a miracle, it arrived as a decision, a small one, almost unnoticeable. He chose to stop waiting for life to feel safe before moving forward. Not rushing, not forcing, just choosing to participate again. He applied for something he almost ignored, reached out to someone he hadn't spoken to in a long time, allowed himself to imagine a future. Carefully. This wasn't confidence. It was courage without certainty. Faith began to look practical, less about belief, more about behavior. He didn't suddenly feel hopeful, but he acted as if hope was possible, and that mattered. He learned something quiet and powerful. Faith isn't proven by emotion. It's proven by consistency, by continuing even when motivation is absent, by choosing alignment over comfort. Support came from unexpected places, not dramatic rescue, not instant solutions, just people showing up gently. A conversation that opened a door. A reminder spoken at the right moment, a shared silence that didn't feel lonely. He realized something important. God didn't remove the struggle, but he placed support within it. Hope returned slowly, not as excitement, not as certainty, but as permission. Permission to try again, permission to rest when needed, permission to believe without demanding guarantees. Hope stopped being something he chased. It became something he allowed. Life didn't look the way he imagined, but it felt more honest. He wasn't living in anticipation anymore. He was living in presence. The future stopped being a threat. The past stopped being a weight. And for the first time in a long while, he felt grounded. Not because everything worked out, but because he did. Rebuilding didn't feel heroic. There were no bold declarations, no dramatic new beginnings. It looked ordinary. He adjusted his days slowly, protected his energy, chose consistency over intensity. He stopped asking how fast he could recover and started asking how gently he could live. That question changed everything. His faith no longer depended on outcomes. It had roots now, deep ones. He trusted even when results were delayed, believed even when answers stayed quiet, not because he expected reward, but because faith had become his foundation, not his bargaining tool. Purpose returned quietly. Not as a calling shouted from the sky, but as meaning found in small acts, listening fully, being present, showing kindness without expectation. He discovered that purpose doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it just asks you to show up honestly. Strength no longer meant endurance at all costs. It meant discernment, knowing when to push, knowing when to pause, knowing when to rest without guilt. This strength felt lighter, but it was stronger than anything he had carried before. Hope was no longer fragile. It didn't disappear when days felt heavy. It didn't require certainty to exist. It stayed, not loud, not demanding, just steady. Hope had become part of him. One day, without planning to, he looked back, not to judge himself, not to measure how far he had come, but to understand. He saw the long waiting, the unanswered prayers, the quiet nights where faith felt thin, and for the first time, he didn't wish any of it away, because now he could see what those seasons had built. Patience that didn't break under silence, faith that didn't collapse without proof, strength that didn't depend on applause. He realized something gentle and true. Faith that survives disappointment is stronger than faith born from comfort, because it chooses trust without certainty. He no longer believed because life made sense. He believed because faith had become part of who he was. A quiet anchor, a steady presence, a place to rest. Hope no longer felt like something distant. It lived in him now, in the way he faced uncertainty, in the way he treated himself with compassion, in the way he allowed life to unfold. Hope had stopped being a destination. It became a way of living. And if you're listening to this now, carrying more than you show, waiting longer than you expected, wondering if faith still has a place in your story, this part is for you. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not weak for feeling tired. Some seasons are not about arriving. They are about becoming, and becoming takes time. Life didn't become perfect. Challenges still appeared, uncertainty still existed, but he no longer feared them because he trusted something deeper now. That even in silence, even in waiting, even in doubt, God was still present, working quietly, patiently, faithfully. This wasn't the end of his journey. It was the beginning of a new way of walking, slower, kinder, more honest. And if you take anything from this story, let it be this. You don't need to rush healing. You don't need loud faith to be faithful. You don't need certainty to keep going. Quiet hope is enough, and it grows one gentle step at a time.